What's up, nation? There's an old saying. There's no better time than right now. So I'm early, but like I said, there's no better time than right now. Why not? I'm sitting here watching the clock. It's been a long day. It's been a long week. I'm ready to go. I'm ready for bed, to be honest with you. And I'm like, I got to do this show, man. I missed it yesterday. So we got to get in here and mix it up. Christopher Mayberry. Salute. I'm jumping on the Gruden bandwagon for the third time. We're going to talk about it. I'm circling the boat. I'm like Jaws, right? I don't need blood to hit the water. I just need the people on the boat. I need to see who's there, right? It's a small bit of a troll job, but it's just a solution that came in a conversation I had this afternoon. Doesn't mean it's reality. It's just a thought to chew on. But Christopher, welcome. This ought to be a fun one. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Happy hump day. Hey, Raider Nation. Guess what day it is? Hump day. Yes, sir. I'm fired up a little bit, man. I think it's because I'm so tired. A lot of strange things, man. Like, there's not a lot of like to the point, interesting, worthy news as it pertains to the Monday night matchup versus the Packers. It's just, there's not. It's crazy. It's crazy. But we'll figure out something to talk about. But to kick things off, welcome to another episode of Night of the Shield. I'm Jason Smith, a.k.a. the Oakland Knight. I know a lot of people have been saying, why just a night? No, it's the Oakland Knight, for sure. And you're watching Night of the Shield, for sure. Right here on the Las Vegas Raider Review or News Review, I should say. And brought to you by Independently Blind Studios, where I educate, advocate, motivate, and inspire those who are going through sight loss or any type of loss, any type of disability you may have. Find your passion, find a way to make it happen, live your best life. That's my mantra. That's what I stand for. That's what I do from an 8 to 5. Actually, wearing the work shirt still. Didn't even change today. It is what it is. Valley Center for the Blind. You want to support? Check out the website, vcb.org, myvcb.org. There's ways to support there. I also got a podcast up there. You might want to check it out. All right, so let's go ahead. I knew it was going to be quiet. I know there's some other shows and stuff going on, but I needed to get my stuff going. I need to get my stuff out. I can't wait. I got to get to bed. I got to work tomorrow. But I wanted to have this conversation because it came up at work. Because people were, the Raider fans that know me and stuff come up to me and we start having conversations, and it's like, McDaniels got to go, McDaniels got to go, McDaniels got to go. And it's like, look, I mean, it's already been put out there how much money it costs to pay coaches. It's not, there's a lot of guaranteed money out there. Still just got done paying Del Rio or paying Del Rio. And you got Gruden's contracts. Now you got McDaniels and Ziegler's contract. And it's just not as easy as just, we're going to just keep paying coaches for centuries. I mean, there's reasons why Mark's overhead is the way it is. There's more than enough reasons to say why he wants to charge so much for tickets. He's trying to make up a lot of money that from bad decisions that he made, by the way, right? He has to own those. Whether it seemed like the right move or not at the time, it's something that you have to deal with now, right? So again, I was just messing around and I said it, and it did kind of make sense. So I'm like, well, if we're already paying Gruden, just bring him back, right? So we get rid of one, we're already paying the other, bring him back, make him earn that money. But it really was a joke at the time, but I guess there's something, a little something behind it. The real problem with that is not so much the relationship, I believe. At least I hope not. I'm sure Gruden understands the situation that Mark was put in. And yeah, it's not as if Gruden was doing the best job ever and we were on that trajectory of heading to a Super Bowl. Maybe, maybe not. We'll never know. But once he left and other people came in, you started to see a lot of holes, a lot of bad contracts. Him and Mayock really messed up the opportunity we had with those extra draft picks we got for Khalil Mack. A lot of mistakes, just a ton of them. And I'm not saying that it's the wrong move, but it's a possibility, I suppose. But then you bring Gruden back, and here's the other issue I have with it, right? And it is kind of a clickbait troll job a little bit with that whole post, but none of Gruden guys are here. They're all gone. Damn near every one of them. So where would that leave this organization, right? What would Gruden be walking into? None of these guys fit his. I'm sure he could find stuff to do with these guys. Don't get me wrong. But again, I mean, I still think we're stepping backwards in the sense that another old school guy with an old school view that doesn't want to change his ways. I think I mentioned that last time. But if it tends to get this bad, if this continues to get bad and continues to get worse and worse, to me, that is something I guess you have to have in your back pocket and maybe revisit that. One of the other things is his lawsuit against the NFL. I know he's over in the Saints. They necessarily can't stop him from working. And right now he holds all the cards, so they're not really saying anything one way or the other. And, this could be a bargaining chip to allow him to come back. I think at this point, Gruden's at the point of his career and his life where he's like, screw it, I'm gone, I'm done. I went down that road. It ended bad again. Right now, I want to ruin Goodell's life. That's just my thought process. But let's talk a little bit about why this is even a conversation. And that's because Josh McDaniels continues to be one of the laughingstocks of the National Football League. Now there's a bunch of reports. He lied. He's a liar. And he did lie. And I know a lot of people are spinning the narrative. I've actually heard a couple of people damn well hit the nail on the head when it comes to Josh McDaniels and what I'm seeing lately from the podium, starting even from the post game when he threw Aiden under the bus. And I had to think of Belichick a little bit and the Patriots and Belichick's demeanor and how he just kind of holds himself up there, right? Ton of success, right? Ton of success. Not much people want to really say to the guy. He's had so much success, right? Everybody feels like his run's coming to an end. And Josh feels like his is just beginning. And when Josh is up there and he's facing the media and he doesn't take ownership, it's real funny. It's real subtle, right? Oh, and it starts with me. Yeah. I need to look in the mirror and we all need to figure out, what we need to do to get better as coaches. And that's including me. Yeah, it's including me. He says those things, but everything else out of his mouth is towards his players. It's towards execution, understanding of his offense, which I'm going to be honest with you. I agree with him that these are the problems that I see too, right? Whether it was Derek Carr or Jimmy G, for some reason, really struggling mentally. And I personally have a take that it's because they played in other systems and learning and unlearning to learn a new one that's complicated obviously is an issue. It's a hurdle that they have to overcome, right? Or you start a rookie who is learning it, played a little faster in my opinion, but still too slow, especially at times holding on to the football. And he's got some growth that he needs to really go through. And that's normal. I'm not tripping off that. And then there's a ton across the board, execution problems, primarily with the offensive line. Then you take the podium and you try to, you lie and say you put this mass protection and you try to chip and attack Khalil Mack when the tapes don't show that at all. His numbers don't show it. He just didn't want to accept the fact that he's not coaching well enough. And he just doesn't want to say it. So it's everybody else's fault. And maybe that was the biggest thing in Denver. Maybe that was some of the people that left New England who felt a certain way about this man, right? Ego is a bitch, man. I'm going to tell you something. Okay. And I said this a couple of years ago. I would periodically come on and make a few videos or whatever. And I was talking about head coaches in the National Football League being some of the biggest narcissists you'll ever meet in your life. A lot of these guys have studied the game of football to a degree where they think that they know more than even their players do. But at the end of the day, you have to trust in your players, but you also have to tap into your players' strengths. And you're up there stating that you need certain players in every single position to do a certain thing a certain way, And that's in life, that's nearly impossible to do. So you got to learn to adjust and tweak your system to make things fit a certain way. And you can still do what you do, but you refuse to do that because you think that you are smarter and better and bigger than everybody else. You're the big dog in the room, right? Think of it as playing chess. And you're just using your 53-man roster as set pieces, as pawns, knights. But you're the king, right? You're the one that has the final say. You're the one that will make the killing move. And is it really that? Is it? Do you have to be so arrogant that you feel that you sit on top of this mountaintop alone as the sole heir of the Las Vegas Raiders? And what deal was given that you feel confident enough in your position to take the podium and throw your team under the bus? Ever so slightly. I've seen worse, heard worse. I mean, is this man truly guaranteed a third year already? Is that what we're dealing with? Is that what we're working with? This guy gets a third year right off the cut? I find that intriguing. I do. Because there's a video floating around out there of fans attacking once again Mark Davis, telling him to fire effing McDaniels. Fire McDaniels. And the response is, smarten up. And I know that we will not get any clarification of what Mark Davis means when he said, because that could mean all sorts of things. We've already covered a few of that. We already talked about what it could or couldn't be when he says something like that, right? Could it be all the money you're paying all these other people and it doesn't make it, you financially can't do it, especially with the way the prices are already in your stadium? Or smarten up, you need to give this some more time. There's a rookie out there, or Jimmy's hurt, or you believe in the excuses that they're feeding you? What is it? D. Nightwalker, welcome, my brother. Al wasn't flexible and didn't adapt. That was his biggest mistake. Fact. I've covered that and talked about that endlessly, and I do it with a heavy heart because adapt or die. Yeah, 100%. Because Al is the Raiders. Al is the Raider Nation. Al is an iconic figure across the National Football League, one of the pioneers that even made this thing a reality, the NFL as we know it today. And as much as you can go back in history and see all the great things that he did, yes, he was also one of those who couldn't get out of his own way, and it cost him. And I will even say a bit of his ego cost him too. And this is what I say. Is a lot of these people who are football nerds, football enthusiasts, I don't think they view the players the same way that we view the players, if I had to be quite honest. It's what can I get these players to do that fits my chessboard and how I see it. And it's their fault if they can't do it. And I think the good coaches learn how to create those opportunities because there's so much talent out there. There's so many colleges, so many people that don't even get a shot that might be the greatest of all time, but don't even get a shot just because of what school they went to and not being at the right place at the right time. So I don't buy in it that it has to be all the head coach, but let's face it, they're the ones usually that come in with a certain style of offense. It's up to them to design it, coach it, and have them execute it. So it is a really tough thing to call perfectly, but still. Junior Ramos, welcome. Free McDaniels, or fire McDaniels, I think, which is what you meant. We should have never got him. Yeah, I mean, it depends on what perspective you look at it, that Junior. You know what I'm saying? his first stint was bad, but he goes back. It's been 13 years. You've seen that he had continued success, and you hope for the best, but you get the worst. I do feel sorry for us as a fan base because this type of stuff just continues to happen. I don't know the answer. I know a lot of people have opinions, but we just don't know the answer. Rolling Dubs, what's up, brother? What's up, everyone? So, okay. What's up, everyone? Hope everyone is having a good day. Yeah, I'm having a good day. I just wish some more news would come out. Gina Ramos, true. Respect, brother. Yep, respect. So, it's a catch-22 on how we do this. Like, it looks good at first, right? Like, hey, but I think the problem is some of these coaches, that you hire that already have this reputation or this expectation already put on them that, because the Raiders weren't the only one that were intrigued and maybe trying to grab a guy like Josh McDaniels. The whole league that was looking for coaches like, wow. Even Mark said, well, I didn't know he'd be available. They just wanted Ziegler, right? And Ziegler was able to bring him Josh McDaniels, who everybody thought, well, this might be pretty good. And it's easy to sell. And I think the problem is it just like with some of the players, right? There's a reason why they had to readjust the way we do the draft and actually put caps on what rookies get right out the cut, depending on position and where you're drafted. Because, a lot of these times these rookies would demand a large payout before they even got to the field. They didn't have to earn anything. Are we looking at that from a coaching perspective now at this point? Should we be paying coaches without ways out of a contract? And I know that we've put ourselves in that corner, and that's the way we were with some of these players, where we have to overpay to get certain things that we think we need and end up not working out, and people are still just collecting their check and laughing. I don't know. Dadpool, do you think Josh McDaniels... Sorry, bro. Another one came in and it jumped the chat. Let me pull it back down. Do you think that Josh McDaniels is trying to sabotage AO4? You know what? No. So this goes to my point, Dadpool. Okay. I don't think he means to. I don't think that he's necessarily trying to. He wouldn't sabotage AO4. But remember, leading up to it, the rumor and all the reports was that Hoyer was getting the snaps, and it looked like it was going to be Hoyer. I think McDaniels was even quoted of saying, "I'm not going to treat this like a preseason game," right? And I just think he heard heard the noise, right? Like, these guys hear it. If they're not hearing it directly, people are reporting to him what people are saying. Mark Davis hears it. Man, I don't think there was whether it's your typical YouTube content creator or national media that were saying, hey, this rookie kid should get the shot. Let me see what this is real quick. Taylor Jedi Master iPhone Echo. So at the end of the day, he's hearing all this, and I think it was a sarcastic way to say, fine, I'm going to start AO4. That's what you guys want. That's what you're going to get. And that was his scapegoat to say, that I gave them what they wanted, and see, they think they know better than I do. That's the way it's coming off to me today. That's the way that I feel it today. True or not, his arrogance at the podium, the way he carries himself, the things that he says, to me, it's just he's arrogant, narcissistic, and he doesn't want to admit he could have did a better job himself, right? And he's already hearing all the rumblings. Continue to make it the player's issue, not my issue. And it's funny. So what are you going to do this week? Because people are still crying for AO4 to be the guy again. So what I'm trying to say is I don't necessarily think he's trying to sabotage him. I just think he's trying not to be wrong. And he'd rather say it was him, it was AO4, not me. And that he needs more time and you should listen to what I have to say. Which I thought, for a rookie, I thought he did a fantastic job. He showed great resilience and poise once again, even after his mistakes, to continue to fight. And we had a chance, and he's the one that called that play, not us. And it's not necessarily, if it would have worked, it would have been great, right? But when you have a rookie quarterback in there and you got all this time left on the clock, you run the ball there. I don't care who, what, when, why, or how. Sell it any way you want to. You should have ran it. And I don't know how many of us would have said that if they would have scored a touchdown with that pass. But I tell you what, when it was picked off, it changes the narrative regardless. It doesn't matter. D. Nightwalker, McDaniels reminds me of the Dennis Allen regime. Well, yeah, coordinators keep saying that their system worked, but the players weren't doing their part. But isn't that the way it always is? And I'll tell you right now, I agree with that. I agree with that statement. It is true that when you, because I even stick up for McDaniels or any other offensive coordinator when people say, you know what, they called a horrible game. How do we know how horrible they called the game? Because the play didn't work? I mean, the play doesn't work. I mean, Davante Adams is quoted on saying this himself, right? Came from Davante Adams himself. Hey, it's our responsibility to go out there and get the job done. Right? But here's the catch. Here's my spin on that. Yeah, players do need to execute. It's up to the player to make it happen, yes. But it doesn't take away the fact that it's your system. It is what you are asking them to do. So it's your job to coach them and make sure that they're prepared to execute. And if they're not getting the job done, you need to identify what, who, when, why, and you pull them, you change it. If it's not working, you fix it. That's a coach's job. And 21 games into this, he's doing a very poor job of that, in my opinion. Toko Z Highlights. What's up, brother? We need Coach Prime. Yeah, he's not. I don't know if he's ready for the big leagues, bro. I like Prime where he's at because one of his missions is to help kids become men. Get them a little bit more prepared to be humbled, to be thankful and grateful. Something that's very much missing in the NFL once people get paychecks. Very few of them can carry themselves. And I think we have a few of them ourselves. I think Max, Devontae, Josh, even a guy like Jimmy G has shown some humility and not being overly arrogant as people who make millions of dollars. And that's the kind of mission that Prime's on right now. I'm sure one day he would love an opportunity to coach an NFL team. I just don't want to push that issue too fast. And it might be a problem if he comes in and brings his son in here. I think that might be too controversial. Junior Ramos. They should fire McDaniels, Jimmy Garoppolo, and Jermaine Illuminor. Now, it's funny because we talked about Jermaine Illuminor before the game last week, and we talked about he gets a bad rap. And he's not perfect, and he's not great, and he's not our future. And we find, once again, and this goes to Dave Ziegler, right? How come they couldn't find a good enough replacement? I do think that Munford should get a shot at this point, but they left him on an island against a guy like Khalil Mack. And in the past, Illuminor has shown the ability, in pass coverage anyway, to hold his own. He couldn't hold his own water last Sunday. And I know it wasn't just Illuminor. I know Colton was struggling as well. But you see a man struggling and you don't send him help. And I'm not sticking up for Illuminor like he's the answer at right tackle. He's not. But, I mean, even for the first 2 weeks, that whole offensive line in pass pro was brilliant for the life of them. And in this case, I think that he was almost so when you go back to that comment, I think it was Dadpool that mentioned it. Do I think that he, or Dean Nightwalker, one of them said, do you think that McDaniels is sabotaging AO4? No. But he could do things like that to make him struggle so he looks better because his call, this is why I wanted to play Brian Hoyer, when in actuality, you could have done things differently, Josh, that could have made the situation a lot better, and you didn't. Chris Jones-Harris, I would draft offensive tackle with the first pick if we have a top 3 pick. Yeah, I mean, there's some caveat to that for me. We'll get into it in a minute. If we have a top 3 pick, would trade back to get more draft picks. And this is another good thing too. Draft picks and move to pick number 6 or to 7 to get an offensive tackle. Here's the thing. I really like that analogy. And I think that every year I think I bring this up. This is one of my first, when people ask me, what do you want to do? I've always been the guy that wanted to trade back, gather more draft picks, and figured the more picks we get, the more opportunity we have to find diamonds in the rough or, have depth on the football team. But as you learn, as you continue to do stuff like this and talk to people and listen to people, it becomes, the reality is, man, like it's not as easy as just dropping back. It's, you got to find the right person to make the right trade, so you're not giving up too much and getting too little back, right? And that goes both ways when it comes to moving up or dropping back. So yes, ideally that works. The other thing too about getting another offensive tackle, primarily on the right side, I think Colton Miller can hold it down for a couple more years until we find his replacement as well, is everything else has to be intact. Meaning, you know, where's the defensive tackle of the future, right? I think everything else is looking pretty promising. Can they develop the young guys that we brought in here last year or this year that have promise? Maybe. But more important than all of that is the quarterback, right? And I agree with you. If Mark Davis is going to roll that dice and say, you know what, McDaniels, I'm giving you the 3 years. I don't care. I can't afford, even if it's the default is, I can't afford to go pay another one. So I got to ride this out until it gets to the point where I can afford to go get another coach again. Okay. Well, then I will double down and say, you better make sure what you have in AO4 is legit. And if you ask me, it looks very, very promising, but you need to play him. Bottom line. And I promise you, Jimmy G can go. I don't think it happens. I think he goes back to his guy. And I have yet to really sort out my feelings when it comes to that, right? Because what I've seen from Jimmy G, in no disrespect, because there's a lot of good things I've seen and a lot more good things that I heard about how the offensive veterans even respect him, how he commands a huddle, how he carries himself with confidence. And that's all great. But everything that I've seen on film and watching these games, the first 3, he doesn't have the arm strength anymore. There's just something's missing. And if we don't recognize it, then why not develop the kid? D. Nightwalker, you said that Mark needs to think outside. Oh, I'm sorry. You said that Mark needs to think outside the box. He does. To get ahead of the curve, one fact. I agree. The thing that worries me is that you need to understand how the box works. And Mark admits this himself. And Mark, I'm sorry. I do apologize. And Mark might not understand the box. Mark has flat out said he doesn't understand the box, right? I know that in the past, it's been rumored that he had some advisory people that he met with. And even in fact, in this hire, there was a group of them that sat around and kind of went through these interviews together. He was not trying to make the decision solely on his own. And so it was more than just Mark that came to this conclusion, although it always land on Mark because he has final say. It's his money. He's the owner, and it makes the most sense. So I guess you need to just double down and check out the people around you. We were talking in last episode about hiring somebody, a VP of football operations, and really get somebody in here that could help balance that out for him. A lot of people were talking the other show about maybe it's Tom Brady. And even though Tom Brady doesn't have a track record, at least it's a fresher mind, someone who's freshly out of the league, who's played with a few different coaches now, knows the pros and cons of a guy like Belichick versus maybe trying to interview and talk to somebody else that might fit the script a little bit better. And I'm not saying that Tom Brady's the answer. I'm just saying, bring in another committee of like-minded people in different areas of football to really try to figure out not only where we're at right now, but where we're trying to go and what's the best route to get there. Because I think it's about being young and innovative. The league is changing. First, it started with the tight end. Then it started with the defensive end. There's the size speedster that are on the ends, and it totally changed the dynamic of how defensive lines operate. And then the response to the tight end was to get smaller at linebacker, not bigger. So you're looking for these hybrids. You're turning in safeties into linebackers, and you're playing more nickel, et cetera, et cetera. And now it's forcing the offense now. It was always around, but now you're really seeing an emphasis on not just running quarterbacks per se, but definitely quarterbacks that are dual threats that make the whole field their pocket from sideline to sideline, right? That's the pocket. And they're looking for people to make that happen. I agree. The kid needs prime more. Need prime more. I agree. The kids, yeah, okay. I agree. The kids need prime more. Yeah, he's, that team is, they're fun, they're loose, they're hip. But when you see them in the locker room, he's got his mom up in there, it's just a respectful group of men. He's making men out of these kids, dude. And I respect him for that. And he's not saying they can't have fun or be crazy, right? Because we know it's prime time, baby, right? But he's also making sure that, know when to be prime and know when to be a man. And I could respect that. Ray Gonzalez, salute nation. Salute to you, Ray. Thank you for being here. Let's see. F. Salgado 88. Who do you want as the next head coach? To be honest, I haven't looked into it much because there's not much need to at this point. I know it's too soon. Oh, perfect. I know it's too soon, but at this point, it's inevitable. Is it? I don't think we've hit that yet. Now, from the Raider Nation perspective, 100% it's inevitable. I think this is done. I think we're a done deal. And with every passing moment, if they don't change it around literally this Monday night, it's just going to, he's going to lose the locker room at this point. And once again, how can you subsidize that? It's amazing when you go pull up the stats and you see the defense 18. We've been talking even before the season started, if we could just get a mid-tier defense, we could actually be contenders. And it looked horrible at first. I was against the defense. I'm like, this is not. And then the defense started. I'm like, okay, it looks like a little bit of last year. I could live with it, but it still lies on our offense, which I'm going to be honest with you, it still does. Being ranked number 18 in the NFL is right where we need to be. If this offense was performing at the level that it should be, and it's not, we'd be in really good shape right now. So what's the answer? Starting Jimmy G? Going to the rookie? Because if the defense continues on the trajectory it's on, the offense needs to just catch up. And we'll be honest, there is still hope if that stays the same. If this continues to stay and these guys continue to grow on defense and the offense can catch fire and find the right person, well, then just maybe, right? So there's still that small hope in the air. I know where we stand with Mcdaniels and what we want to say, what we want to scream, and what we want to put out there in the universe. But technically, I guess what Mark would say, smarten up. I don't know. Should we smarten up, Mark? I get the possibility, but you can't lose the team in the process, or Mark has no choice. So I don't know who steps in and tells McDaniels that you need to humble yourself, number one, and you need to figure out the quarterback position. And you better find what kind of combination or scheme works up front to both protect the quarterback and create a running game. It's ridiculous, dude. This wasn't, once again, it wasn't supposed to be this way at all. Chris Jones-Harris, after Russell Wilson was traded to Seattle, the Seahawks draft Charles Cross and Abraham. But they had a backup quarterback in place, right? That's in Lucas last year. Yeah, no, you got to start in the trenches. Seahawks were a playoff team. We're a playoff team, and they had a solid wide receiving core, just like us. But our wide receiver core just got built. Like, our wide receiver core right now is probably one of the best in the league, and we can't even utilize the whole damn receiving core. We use two at a time. And I thought the kid did good. It looked like he really tried to implement more of the other weapons, but I started to feel a little bit like some of it may be play calling, or just maybe the way that the plays are designed and in the order that you process it, because there's still lackluster in that area. I think Hunter needs the ball more, and I think we need to use our tight ends more as well. Chris Jones-Harris, we need a good development team to look at Eagles. To look at the Eagles' seventh rounders and stuff have an impact. Rookies. And that was a narrative that I keep hearing. Oh, you still had more. I'm sorry. Randy Panout said, hold on. Our impact, our rookies rarely pan out. I agree. They rarely pan out. Jalen Hurts, second pick. They have an amazing development team. Guys that can come in and develop. I'm sorry. If you're new here, Chris Jones Harris, I'm legally blind. That was a little rough one. The longer the comments, the rougher it gets for me. And as the show goes on, my eyes tire out. You'll hear it get worse. But to sum that up in the best way that I can is we need a team that can really develop players, and the players that we get later on need to become more of an impact. And it's funny because we keep waiting for all these developmental players. Even guys like Kuntz, who's actually playing really well. But for me, I don't think he's playing well enough. When you got Max Crosby getting triple teamed all the time, you should be doing more. What happens when they stop triple teaming Max? Can you still perform? So again, why we're not getting the type of impact other teams are with their draft picks. And I do believe we need someone to come in here and develop these players. Nick 209, welcome, brother. There you are. What's happened tonight? Not much, man. Just you know what today is, right, Nick? Hump day. It's hump day. What I miss. So we've just been talking, there's not much direct to talk about. I was pretty much been talking about Josh McDaniels' narcissistic personality, the way he comes up on the podium and he really lightly tries to say what, I need to work on things. I need to work on things very lightly, but then has a whole bunch to say about his players and them not doing their job, but it's his job to make sure they do their job. Daniel Kapskinen, what's up, brother? Welcome. I wonder, never think in year 2 of a system, our defense is way more, damn, dude, that's me, bro. Don't worry about it. Defense is way more improved, yes, than our offense. And it didn't look like that at first, did it? That explains it. Yeah, and we talked about Patrick Graham possibly being the scapegoat. Is he? Will he be? Because, I don't know. He's improved. The numbers improved. And there's a long ways to go. But when you look at the first quarter of the season, I talk about it all the time, and I know sometime this week or this weekend before we play Green Bay, I will do my second quarter predictions and kind of go over what I think could happen, which is scary now that we've went through the first quarter. But you've seen them start slow. You were kind of like, oh gosh, this is going to be bad. Maybe it's because of Chandler Jones. Maybe it's because of this, that, or Tyree Wilson's not performing. You actually see Tyree developing a little bit. We need to see a bit more, but hey, at least it's shown improvement, right? But if you look from the defensive side of things, you're actually seeing growth. So when Patrick Graham comes out and he says, oh yeah, we played all right. We did this. I got to look at some more tape. We're working on some things. We need to fix some things. But then the next week it comes out and it just looks a little better. And yeah, we're starting off slow, but then, we come out in the second half and shut teams down. If he could continue on the trajectory of what he's been showing this year, then yeah, how could you fire the guy when he's outdoing you? You better fix your offense, bro. That's what I'm talking about. But, Patrick Graham will still be the scapegoat, just the way it works. Ray Gonzalez, Devontae likes what he sees in AOC. I heard that report as well. I hope he and others... I hope him and others relay that to McDaniels and Ziegler. They'll hear it, and I'm sure that it's been talked about, but we're going to get into translating that a little bit deeper too. Better give McDaniels a fair warning. Now, here's the thing, right? I know that he came out and he said the right thing, right? He pumped the kid up and he's giving the kid everything that he needs, like the confidence, understanding that he needs growth, but saying, hey, this kid has a lot of potential, right? He's not necessarily saying that he should be the starter moving forward, or maybe he is, but don't give up on the kid, right? Because Devontae was also that guy that says, hey, Jimmy's a dog, and he comes out there, he controls the huddle. I really like how he handles himself in the locker room. He's a good dude. He gets it. But I think you're starting to see a change. But I promise you this. If Devontae feels, which I know he's telling the truth, but if he really feels that it should be AOC, I'm sure he's made that clear. And at some point, this is where Josh has to step up, believe, and listen to his players and do what's right. Mile High Raider, welcome, salute. Would be nice if we could recruit Peyton Manning to coach. I would like to bring him. I wouldn't mind that. I think that he has too much of a personality to come on the sidelines. I think with podcasting and all the other stuff that's available and his deals with ESPN and NFL, I can't think it's ESPN. His ability to have what he has already is more than enough. But I would love to start him off as a quarterbacks coach for sure. But let's not forget, my high rater, that Tom Brady is trying to become an owner, and I know that a lot of us don't like Tom Brady, the man, the patriot, right, the tuck rule dude. But at the end of the day, not only could he offer a lot to a guy like Aiden O'Connell, a kid, but I already know that he's working with Tom Brady's quarterback coach, which is huge. So little things like that could go a long way that Tom Brady can bring, not only to this organization, but to a young kid like AO4. And this is where I think that if Devontae is saying these things and Tom Brady has people working with this kid, and then you take what we saw, and instead of throwing him under the bus, look at the arm strength and what he was able to do and he brought a little bit more flair to this offense. This might be how you really, truly save your job, dude. Like, this is who I would start. This is what I would do. I would develop the kid this year in hopes and promises that I could get him to a point where you kind of hope that Davis sees it. And then maybe you try to sell that to the nation that this is going to get even better. And right now, none of us feel it. None of us believe that's going to be the issue here. M85, what's up, brother? Up and coming coordinator whose resume stands on its own. No more retreads. No more nostalgia. Yes, and I'll be the first one to tell you, if you go all the way back to Jack Del Rio, that's what I was about, M85. I'm not even going to lie to you, right? I wanted, because at the time, I know we had the Dennis Allen hire for McKenzie, and that wasn't great because he never coached before, right? And nobody really would take the job at that time for whatever reason. So we brought in Dennis Allen because he would actually said, yeah, I'll take the job. And you look at him now, what he's doing with the Saints, it's not looking the greatest either. But again, like, I was like, okay, I'm done with this experimental crap. Let's get somebody in here that's done it before, that understands it. Maybe he can get us on that right trajectory. Jack Del Rio did for a year or two, then it fell apart, and then we had the Gruden movement. Now we got the Mcdaniels movement. I'm with you. Maybe it's time that maybe we don't have to beg or go to the bottom and really find that young Dennis Allen, but maybe we find somebody that's in between a Dennis Allen when we hired him very young, and then a guy like Gruden who is very old. Someone in the middle that hasn't had the shot yet, but has an outstanding resume. So I'm with you. Someone who's innovative, ready to take some chances. I mean, look at the way Sean Payton was when he first came to the Saints. So innovative, right? At his prime. Nick 209. Seems like we're worse than last year. O-line and quarterback struggles. Fact. And that's what I don't get. This offensive line, second year into this, as they improved last year and played better towards the end, you think would have came out in all cylinders. One offensive lineman shouldn't change the narrative the way that it has. It's crazy. My boy Raider John in the house. Salute, my brother. What's good, brother? You know what, man? You know what day it is, right? Hump day. It's Wednesday, baby. That much closer to the weekend. I get a 3-day weekend this week. I get home on Monday off, so I have plenty of time to come on here at some point Monday and figure things out as more information comes out. It's been really, really quiet week so far. There should be a lot more information leaking out tomorrow on what's happening, what the injury report may or may not look like, who's kind of out there running around doing their thing. Did Jimmy G get off concussion protocol? Where are we at? Can McDaniels come and take the podium and give us some insight of what he's really planning to do with quarterbacks? I mean, if I had all the right answers and I knew exactly what he should do, then I guess I would have his job, but I still stand by my statement. From what I've seen thus far, it should be develop rookie all day. D-Night Rocker, let's see. We can wait for Superman to arrive. But this team will only start winning when this organization starts making better choices. Real change comes from the inside. You're preaching to the choir when it comes to that, brother. I cannot disagree with that statement at all. And, the first thing to change, right, is acceptance. You got to accept the situation you're in and your part in it. Even a guy like me, back in 2016, this channel was blowing up. Pete and I had this thing humming and a rolling. I just felt like the weak link. I felt like the world was caving in on me. I was having a lot of issues visually and on how I did and operated things, almost hurting a kid in Disneyland. And the thing goes on to all the drama that transpired from that year and all the stuff that we were doing and shaking and moving. And I needed to step back. The first thing I had to do to change is accept the fact that I was hurting myself and I needed to change. I needed to accept that first before the process could truly start, right? So Mark needs to really look in the mirror and be like, he's already come out and admitted that he doesn't know football. And that's great. But what can you say about it now, Mark, that it's going to help you realize that what you're doing is not working, and why is that? Is it the people you surround yourself with? Is people sabotaging your brain? Is people telling you certain things just to sabotage the Raiders and keep them down? Maybe you need to check the people you hang out with, the people that you trust. It's funny. I hear and see all these amazing people go up and have these alumni weekends, and you see Charles Woodson, the businessman, roaming around. You never see him around, Mark, like that. Not like that, right? But how much input can you get from some of these alumni that have been a few places? Some of these players that have seen and done great things other places. I'm not saying that these guys know how to run a football organization, be an owner, to be a GM, to be a VP of football operations and personnel. But at the end of the day, these guys have been around. A guy like Charles Woodson has been to Green Bay and seen what it was like on the other side. Tom Brady has played and kind of did things at a high level with the same group of people that you're coaching right now. I'm sure he has something to say. And that might be scary if he's promoting them because he knows what they're capable of doing, but yet you're sticking with him because Tom Brady said so, right? But Tom did go to Tampa Bay and seen a different perspective on how things could be done and how even Tom Brady could teach the damn offense, according to what everybody says in the stance that we take with this guy. So I'm just saying, yes, true change starts within. Accepting it yourself, starting with Mark and working its way down. I can't say enough. There's not enough for me to really hate Ziegler just yet. There's the verdict's still out until some of these players truly develop, to be quite honest. There are some big mistakes he's already made. It is what it is. As far as McDaniels, though, I don't know if the change is going to go that far. From what it seems like and looks like and sounds like and all that to me, McDaniels is the same guy. I think one of the biggest problems that he had wasn't the fact that it's not that he can't relate to players or get along with them. I think he can, because I think he genuinely likes these people. But if it comes down to saying it was his fault or their fault, he's having a hard time just being humble and saying, it's me. It's me. It's all me. Right? He's having a hard time with that. Raider John, can you believe McDaniels tried to say they double teamed? Yeah, I was talking about that earlier. That they double teamed Mac on a lot of plays. Oh my gosh, bruh. No. The F you didn't. Yeah, he did. This is what I'm talking about. This fool is borderline trolling us. Not so no, it's not even so much a troll job to me, bro. This guy, it's a narcissistic attitude, right? He'd rather admit their fault or that they did do something than just to be like, I didn't coach this right. I didn't scheme this right. He wants to put it on somebody else, bro. And that is what's scary, that he thinks that he could just go up there. And it's funny, when he's lying because he's as uncomfortable as hell when he knows he doesn't have to tell the truth. When he's able to just talk football, talk X's and O's, he could talk around that all day and be more confident. There's times he hits the podium and he's super confident, and then there's other times he hits the podium and he's like just and that's because he's trying not to say certain things. He knows that he's getting ready to give us a bunch of excuses or reasons why he can't answer or a lie. And he's been caught up in it too many times at this point. Mile High Raider. I can't blame Mark for wanting to have what the Patriots had. I don't either, bro, to be honest with you. But we'll never have that because we will never get the special treatment from the officials. Now, trust me, this is a stigma, and we talk about change, right? And this is a stigma that I would love to shake. There ain't no doubt about it that it's almost probably become a running joke and a running game, and it still feels the same because a lot of the same BS happens that we've been saying for decades upon decades upon decades, right? But here's the reality. Go watch some of the other football games. A lot of them mediocrity and bull crap is happening in other games too. So you're starting to see it appear a lot more, how referees manipulate games for whatever reason. We don't know. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I will never go down that rabbit hole. But let's be honest. It's happening more and more into other games. Now, I don't think it's coming from the top down anymore, if I had to be quite honest. I think that if Mark has done anything right, it has changed the narrative and put money into the pockets of the owners who wanted to see that happen. He also paid off his father's debts. He's made attempts. I'm not going to say I don't know if he's truly mended some of the relationships between the owners and how they look at the Raiders, but he's done a fantastic job of taking us from bottom feeder from a financial perspective into contenders financially. Now, that doesn't make us winners, obviously, but trying to get the NFL off our back would be step one. But I honestly think, and I think I said this last show, I think that they're truly waiting for this guy to be incompetent enough because he has no kids. Who does he leave the team to? I don't know if anybody's done that. I personally haven't done that research. I don't know. I know he doesn't have no kids or anything. So, when his time comes, who does the team go to? And maybe that's what the league is waiting for. Raider John, well, he picked the wrong fan base to BS. No, dude, that's the one thing that people need to understand about the Raiders. Like, if you go search other teams in social media, whether it's Twitter presence, it'll probably be a lot of Twitter presence more than anything, but YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of that. Raider fans by the dozen everywhere. Like, this fan base, you say something, look something funny, you say the wrong thing on the internet, there's a screenshot, and the whole world's gonna know about it. Chili Pepper 28, yo, Raider John, I said it a long time ago. If you want to fix officiating, give them a raise, make them full time, 100%. Then start firing them down to their minimum every time they F up. And again, it's a hobby for these guys. It's extra cash. A lot of these guys are retired lawyers and all. They had real substantial jobs, right? They're real, and the schooling it takes for them to even get this. It's just fun for them to be out there and call games, and they get paid well, even at part-time salaries, right? But I agree. You need to bring in some people, teach them the right way. You got to remove some of the bias that floats out there. The image of the Raiders, which I want that to stick in your head. Okay. The image of the Raiders, image of the Raider Nation, going all the way back to its creation, to its founding father, to the Black Panthers, to the Hells Angels, to the workers of the pier over there in Oakland that really started this whole thing, to the Kenny Stablers and the Willie Browns and the Lyles, that like the tough dudes, Art Shells, the Jim Ottos, the Roughnecks, man, the ones that took no BS, right? That image, I think, across the league, but for whatever reason, we are stereotyped as Raider fans because of the way that the league and everybody else wants to portray our fan base. It's sad. It's ridiculous. And all you're hurting is the NFL. And there's a part of me that wants John Gruden to expose the NFL so bad, as long as it doesn't ruin what we got. Because I love the NFL. I don't want to see it go away. But the NFL needs to be served a big piece of humble pie because it's gotten too big for its britches. So to call out one man, and it just so happened to be the head coach of our organization. Yeah, I think it's time for these owners to be exposed a little bit. It'd be shocking. I'm not going to lie. How much time we got? 8:51. I'm about that hour mark. So I think I'm going to roll. I'll definitely be here tomorrow night. Hopefully I have a better day, better flowing day. I won't be in work clothes. I'll be in gym clothes. I haven't even get to work out today. It's just one of those days, y'all. But hopefully there'll be more information dropped tomorrow. We have a little bit more insight on what we may or may not be looking at for Monday's matchup. I think the biggest key, we're going to talk about it. We always will. We're going to try to narrow in on what it's going to take on both sides of the ball. What can we continue to improve on? And I know that's a longer conversation offensively at this point, but I'm totally shocked by that. But what can we do moving forward to try to change this thing around? I already put mine out there. Start the kid. I'm standing by it. I'm not going to hate it if they start Jimmy, but it should be the kid. And then maybe after seeing the kid and then going back to Jimmy, maybe it'll stand out more to them why Jimmy's done. And I think it's mental and physical, but there is hope that he can get over the mental part. But man, he can't throw that ball anymore, and it's really, really sad. But it is what it is. Shout out time. Raider John, my dude, appreciate you. Chili Pepper 28, you already know, my brother. Much love, much respect. Mile High Raider, thank you for being here tonight, brother. I appreciate you. Ray Gonzalez, my dude, much respect. Thank you for always being here and supporting. If you guys are new here, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell to be updated every time I go live. Hit that like button on your way out. D Nightwalker, appreciate you and your insight, my brother. Thank you for being here. Nick 209, you already know. Appreciate you. Been a staple point around here lately. M85, appreciate you, bro. Thank you for being here. I already gave a big shout out to my boy Ray. Daniel Kampansikian, what's up, my brother? I appreciate you. Thank you. Let's see, who else did I miss? Chris Jones Harris, appreciate you for being here and all the great insight. Thank you for bringing some great talking points tonight to the show. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's see. I want to make sure I don't mess with this one. Fossil God 083. I think I might have messed that up, but I do apologize for that one. Ray Gonzalez. Tokyo's highlights. Appreciate you, my brother. I know we had Dadpool in the house tonight. Appreciate you, Dadpool. Let's see who else we had in here. Try not to miss anybody tonight. Junior Ramos, much love and respect. Thank you for the insight tonight, brother. Appreciate you. The Nightwalker, Dadpool, there you are. All right. Roland Dubs was in the house. Can never forget my boy Roland Dubs. Thank you for being here, brother. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Christopher Mayberry, thank you for being the first. Jumping in. Talking about Gruden. We appreciate you. Salute, fam. Salute to you, Mile High Raider. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. All right, guys. You know how we do it. We'll be back tomorrow night, roughly around 8 o'clock, depending on how my workout day goes. No later than 8:30, I should be live. For those of you who want to make sure you make it here, I appreciate you. Hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe. Notification bell. You know the drill. Till next time, stay Raider strong. Night out.